The only meaning this life has is the meaning that we give it. But we must tread with great caution when choosing and applying the meaning in our lives. Let's talk about that. If the purpose of life and the meaning of life is to live a long, healthy life, to eat the best foods, to exercise regularly every day, to stay healthy and strong, if that was the meaning and purpose of life, then what about infants that die? What about people in their teens and their 20s dying? Their opportunity to fulfill the meaning and purpose of life has been halted. It's been stifled. It's been stamped out, snuffed out, right? So that purpose fails as a general purpose for humanity. What if life's purpose and true meaning is to be a devout Christian and to give your whole life to the Christian God? Well, then we have to deal with people around the world that are brought up with different religions, different belief systems, that have never had a chance to hear your Christian faith. And so, once again, their opportunity to know the true purpose and meaning of life has been snuffed out, right? And so that theory does not stand as well. What if the meaning of life is to be a skater or a dancer or a martial artist? Well, if that was the meaning or purpose of life, then what about people who are handicapped? Okay, what about people who are in tragic accidents and they can't walk anymore? They can't even think anymore. Once again, that, purpose or meaning of life will fail as a purpose overall for humanity. Once again, those people's opportunity to fulfill life's purpose and meaning has been snuffed out. What if life's meaning was to come to know the deep meaning of life, right? What if that was life's meaning and purpose, was to realize the deepness of life and its purpose? Okay, well, we have people that can't think. We have people that are born with defected brains, people that have mental illness and they don't have clarity. So once again, even if the purpose and meaning of life was to know the great purpose and meaning of life, theoretically or philosophically or religiously, if that's what it was, it would have been snuffed out for those people. So once again, that meaning and purpose is void as well. So basically, there is no one purpose or meaning for everybody. It's different for everybody. Now, some might say that the only meaning and purpose of life in general is just to survive and exist. Nothing more. That everything else is just appendages. They're just things that we do, right? We create, we imagine. These things bring us pleasure and sensation, right? Now, what I would like to propose is that the way that we find the meaning and purpose to this life is to get in touch with God, to observe God, right? So let's talk about that. So because we're all different and we all function differently, whether it be through our mental or physical capacities, we're all just different. We all can't have the same purpose and meaning on that level of existence. But there is a way for us to know our purpose and meaning as a whole of humanity and existence altogether. And that is through learning to hear and observe God. Whether you think God is a universal divine intelligence or a universal consciousness, it matters not. The outcome is the same. God speaks the same to all of us through his creation. And the idea is just to learn to observe his creation, learn through his creation how to act and what to do. And so we find meaning in these things called archetypes. And archetypes are basically the objects that God has created that serve certain purposes and certain functions. And those purposes and functions that these archetypes or things that God created are speaking to us. They are telling us, they are showing us. We are learning to observe God's creation and listen to him speak to us through those things. For example, one of the greatest archetypes of all time since the dawn of all creation has been the sun. The sun has always been an object of adoration because the sun is the greatest example. What does the sun do? The sun provides life. It provides warmth and comfort. It nurtures, right? It takes care of all of existence. It keeps life moving forward. Now, that is the perfect example of how to observe God and listen to God and to learn the purpose of humanity. The purpose is to nurture life. It's to give warmth to those around you. It's to help sustain the life around you. It's to help things grow in their natural process. It's to help people grow in their natural abilities and process. It's to be able to move life forward with warmth and to just help things strive, just as the sun does. That is our prototype of a perfect being in existence. Okay? The sun is the perfect prototype for that. So, in order for us to be able to know the meaning and listen to God, we have to be able to observe nature. Okay? So, that is number one, very essential. So, the object is to mimic the sun, to apply its attributes to your own life. And this can be found in many different creations. The moon, the trees, the flowers, the water. Look at water, for example, in a river. It flows. It's gentle. Sometimes it's aggressive when it has to be to get where it needs to go. This is symbolic of the human being, the human spirit being able to get through a lot of obstacles. The water finds a way, whether it has to go around it, below it, over it. Water is very symbolic of the human spirit and its ability to be able to keep moving forward. And the sun, even though clouds will come and go, that is a great example of how we should carry ourselves in our lives. The sun's there. Its attributes are still there, still in force, but clouds come and go. And those clouds can be symbolic of our problems in our lives, our challenges and our obstacles. They will come and go. We know that they will come and go. But the sun remains there and the attributes are still there. Life will continue to move forward, right? And we will be nurtured and provided for by the sun. And we are to apply those same things into our own lives through all of the difficulties in our lives, those clouds that come and go. We have to understand that sun and its attributes are within us as well, literally, through the food that we eat, the things that we put into our body. Everything has been nurtured by the sun. If being able to know God and communicate with God and hear God depends on where our attention is, it's very important that we don't get hoodwinked. And in this day and age, it's very hard not to get hoodwinked. And it's very important that we help each other and that we try to shine our light on them and to teach them how to observe God and where God is found. Because there are forces and powers, people in this world that they do not have our best intentions at hand. They want to disconnect us from knowing our true purpose and meaning, that communication with God. They want that energy and attention on them to hold them up and sustain them in their initiative to obtain power and control over us. And this is done through all types of media and materialism. It keeps us looking outside of ourselves. Even religions, they teach us that God is outside of ourselves and that we have to rely on them for happiness and salvation. And a lot of the problems in the world are created by these external sources, and then they tell you that you have to buy their products, you have to go to certain places, you have to do certain things. This is it's a type of control, mind control and physical control. So it is very important that, we learn to actually listen and see and hear God all around us. I mean, occasionally you'll find a gem in the Bible. For example, the Bible says that the kingdom of heaven is within. And that is a fact. And so it's very important that we are able to find these godly attributes within ourselves. And that's the optimal realization, is while these archetypes that God has provided for us are here for us to observe and tune into, the ultimate realization is knowing that all of those archetypes, all of the meaning and the purpose is within us as well. So we are not separate from those things. But because of misinformation and jealousy and greed and all the things that go on in this world, because of people they have been raised wrong, they've been misinformed and taught wrong growing up, and they worship the synthetic world, the world of materialism. They're so hooked on these things for meaning and purpose. They have been hoodwinked and led astray. So it is up to those who know to try to share what we know with them. So with all of that being said, I hope that this was edifying for someone. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Like the video, it's greatly appreciated. So keep in mind that the whole purpose and meaning of life is to promote life in a positive way, in a warm way, in a way that nourishes and helps life unfold. If you can help somebody, that should be your greatest motivation, is to emulate the sun and the archetypes that have been provided for us. To be like water, moving forward through all obstacles, never stopping. No matter how you have to do that, you find a way, just like water running through a river. Just like a flower. A flower will teach us how to live. It'll simply be. It'll simply exist. It'll simply exist in God's warm embrace, nurturing embrace, constantly looking and reaching up to the sun, showing its gratitude for the sun. And so when we live our lives in a way where we're constantly putting our attention on God and God's attributes, we live in a naturally thankful way, because we see finally what is important, what is real, and what really matters. And we're just so thankful that it exists and that we have it, and that all of the other frivolous things that are fleeting and come and go, they don't have any real control and power over us, because we've finally come to the conclusion of what's really important, right? So that being said, if you're not following me on Instagram, it's Mr. Gary Palmer. So go follow me on there as well. It's greatly appreciated. I hope everybody has a blessed day, blessed evening, blessed life, healthy. And if it's not healthy, hey, I hope that, you're making your way through it. And I just invoke blessings upon you and your family. So that being said, peace.